3 coplanar points, and bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
On the level.
The way I phrase it is a monument to the curvature of the Earth. It really
totally
is.
agree with
Level.
It really
totally
is.
agree with
Level.
And bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
You cannot measure an angle with that device.
Yes, you can.
Right, okay.
I just did it. That's what that picture is.
That's a picture of you doing what?
That picture is me measuring an angle below horizontal with an auto level, not a theodolite.
Okay, yes, you. Fair enough. No, there's
Zooming
no zoom.
doesn't change. There's 10 milliradians.
There is no zoom on an auto level.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, you just click on it as you would a no other person and mute it.
Yeah, pretend it's DP.
Hang on, I mute Groovy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What's the show? Like, what were they playing?
It's Jose's live show at the moment.
Oh, live. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Bev said he
Roohif.
agrees that there's 10 milliradians between the stadia.
Who said that? What?
What did you just say a minute ago? That's exactly what
I
I told
said-
you about the stadia hairs when
I
we were
said-
on Brandon's.
Yeah, how they work.
Yeah, by using a reticle with marks of a known angular spacing. What do you think that means?
Well, it's fixed into the optics, right?
Yeah, known angular spacing. What do you think known angular spacing means?
It's the distance between the lines, right?
Yeah, in what units?
What do you mean?
Angular. It says angular spacing. So what units are they talking about?
Yeah, but it's not a device for measuring angles.
It can measure angles
It's
because
Roohif.
it is a known angular spacing. What do you think known angular spacing means?
Right. Just measuring horizontal, nothing more.
You can measure angle with it.
They don't measure angles, Roohif.
That's exactly what the stadia marks are.
Let me find
They're
something.
10
Which one are
milliradians
you
apart.
looking in there? Right, okay. Now, I don't know why I had to go looking for it, but I did. I went looking for some stuff for you, just specifically for you.
Oh, thanks,
On
Jan.
this. I can't remember.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to Engineer Supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
But you agree there's a known angular spacing between the stadia marks.
It's based on triangles, right? Isosceles triangles.
Sure.
Well, it's a triangle, right? It's based on similar triangles. Then guess what?
Yeah, with a known
There's-
angle.
Yes.
Yes,
But you
okay, we
don't
agree that you can measure an angle. with an auto level.
No, we don't agree that you can measure angles with an auto level. You can't.
There are 10 milliradians between the stadia marks. Do you agree with that, yes or no?
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to Engineer Supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
It's based on the focal length, isn't it, of the optical device that you're using?
No. Focal length is basically zoom.
No, there's
Zooming
no zoom.
doesn't change. There's 10 milliradians.
There is no zoom on an auto level.
Yes, there is.
Zoom?
Oh, hang on, Siri. Shush. My auto level has a 32 times zoom. It's fixed. It's not a variable zoom.
Like I did it. Yeah, you can. I'll put the search in for you. Copy. Right. So I just did a search then. Advantages and disadvantages of auto levels.
Is this in debate? There we go.
I've put it there for you. Have a look. No,
You
just
might
have a
get
look.
confused with the focus knob.
Yeah.
No. I've got a fixed zoom on mine. It's a 32
They're
times
all
magnification.
fixed. Yes, they are all fixed because them stadia hairs are fixed to the focal length of the device.
how-
you
what is the
cannot
angular-
have a zoom.
What is the angular spacing between the stadium marks? You
Have a
agree with
look.
what I
Do
quoted
us-
from Wikipedia?
Just have a look at the disadvantage for us, will you? In that one.
Yeah, I know what that
Right.
means.
So-
I know what it means when it
What?
says vertical angles can't be measured. It means you can't rotate it in that axis to measure.
You can't. It means you cannot measure an angle.
No, it does
It
not mean
does.
that. It does not mean that. It just means it's not a theodolite that you can rotate on that axis.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to engineer supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
What is the angle between the stadium marks? Wikipedia tells you, and you agree with it.
Oh, look.
Known angular spacing.
This is what I said first off, right? Vertical angles cannot be measured with an
all that
auto
means
level.
is it's not a theodolite.
No, all that means is you've just said you can measure an angle with an
you
auto
can.
level. You cannot. It says it there.
Yes, you can.
There's only 2 disadvantages of an auto level. One
That
of
just
them,
means you can't rotate it in that axis.
and well, I'll look at the other one. The horizontal angle is measured, is not very accurate. That's the only
agree with that
2
one.
disadvantages. One of them says you cannot measure an angle in the vertical, which is what you did.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to engineer supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
You can measure it relative to horizontal to plus or minus 5 milliradians.
Yeah, I know. This is where we go all of the time with you, right,
Yeah,
Roohif?
because
Definitions mean
you've
nothing.
agreed.
Even
You've agreed
if they're in the
with
civil
what I quoted
engineering
from Wikipedia.
text. There's only 2 disadvantages. It's one of them.
You have agreed with what I quoted from Wikipedia.
Roohif,
that there's
I
a
have
known
told
angular
you,
spacing.
God knows how many times, an auto level is not a device for measuring vertical angles.
You can measure plus or minus 5 milliradians from horizontal. That is what the stadium marks are.
That's not what that says, is it?
Yeah, that's saying that it's not a theodolite. You can't rotate in
Civil
that axis.
today.
Yeah,
right?
would you
Civil
like me to contact
engineering.
The author? Would you like me to contact the author? Would you?
You just contact anyone you want, right?
Yeah,
and
and
ask
what
them
happened-
how you can measure an angle with a device that isn't meant for measuring angles.
It can measure plus or minus 5 milliradians from horizontal. That is what the stadium marks are. Would you like me to contact the author?
You know how stadia hairs work, right?
I do.
Right.
You
There's a
agree how they work.
There is a relationship in the size compared to the length or the distance.
Right.
Yeah.
So the relationship is there are 3 components, right? There is the actual size, there is the
So,
angular size, and there
Perspective
is the
compression
distance.
is a function
I don't know what that means.
of distance. In the distance,
agree?
As something goes away from you, it gets smaller. Correct?
Yes.
We call that perspective compression, because what you're seeing to your perspective is getting compressed into
I
the
just call it
device.
angular
Right.
size.
So, right. Well, now, what we do, because of the stadia hairs and the function that they are within the thing, we can, because we know the size of the object and the amount of compression, we can work out a distance that is away from the device.
What is the
that we're looking.
relationship between those 3 things?
It's just a function of distance, right?
Yeah, but there's a relationship between 3 variables, right? Actual size, angular size, and distance. If you have 2 of those, you can work out the third. Do you agree?
No,
with
one
that?
of them's just put into the lens, isn't it? And you do the other 2.
How is it put into the lens, for fuck's sake?
It's just a slide, right?
You don't
It's
just mark. You don't just mark
just the
random
crosshairs.
stadium marks.
Yeah, the
Yeah, but
crosshairs
they're
are
not
put.
just randomly placed.
No, they are
They're
put in
placed
there
10 milliradians apart.
at 1 to 100 scale, right?
Yeah, what does 1 to 100 mean? It means 10 milliradians. That's what it means.
Wouldn't that change because of the difference in the focal length of the device?
No, it's fixed.
So you don't think that has anything to do with the focal length of the device, right? You think they're just sort of what, magic hairs that you can just pull out of your arse and put in there? No.
You think they're magic hairs.
No, I know what they're there for.
Apart.
I know what they're there for.
I'm going to contact this author.
This is
going to be hilarious.
You think that they are there to measure an angle. I'm telling you.
That's how they work.
They are not.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to engineer supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
That is how they work, Bev.
They work because of the relationship between similar triangles.
Yes.
Yes.
The relationship is...
Well, triangles, guess what? Triangles are made up of 3 angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one do you think we have?
Which one do you think you measure?
Yeah,
you don't, you dickhead. You don't. You don't measure angles with it. It's just a relationship between a distance and another distance, right? It's just the relationship of 2 parts of a triangle. The rest of it is put into the device.
Between actual size, angular size, and distance. Do you understand that relationship?
Yes, it's built into the triangle, right, isn't it?
Right, so you've got the actual size and the distance, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, you can work out an angular size.
Look, I don't know what you are trying to do right now, because the conversation is, can you measure an angle with an auto level?
Yes, you can.
Simple answer is no, right? What you're
Then
doing
what
then,
other
from
stadia
then on
marks?
in, is you are trying to explain what the stadia hairs do. So I will give it to you, right? Off you go. Please explain how you explain this, all of this angle measurement and what the stadia hairs are there for. And go on.
Yeah, the stadia hairs are 10 milliradians apart. Therefore, if you have either an actual size or a distance, you can work out the third variable because there is that 3-way relation.
The third variable.
How are you working out the angular size or the distance or the size with only one measurement? You're saying you have an actual size, right? Something you measure on the rod.
A measuring rod, yes. You have a measuring rod, and they have known sizes on them. They are a known
they're
size.
Actual sizes, right? They're actual sizes.
Yeah,
you've
real.
You've only got one component of that 3-way relationship. How are you working out distance, which is the third component, without an angular size?
You just the distance that it is within the stadia hairs, right? You measure. You look and see the numbers on the staff, right?
I understand how it works, Bev.
And then numbers, right? What you do is you get those numbers and times it by 100.
Why?
And then that will give you the distance you are away.
Yeah, why will it give you the distance?
I'm not bothered.
You understand the relationship between
because
the
of the
three.
relationship between triangles. Yeah,
Yes,
we all know
the
that.
Angular
Geometry.
size.
Yeah.
Excellent. The angular size.
No, just to try... You're not measuring an angle, Roohif. I don't know what you're trying to get out of something now, right? It's pretty obvious.
This just started when I pointed a auto level at the horizon and measured the angle, and you said you can't do it. I said absolutely you can.
Yeah, so you don't measure an angle. That's exactly what I said, and that's what I said eventually when you came in here. I said you don't measure an angle with an auto level. I've showed you a bit in it where it says it's a disadvantage of the device that you can't measure a vertical angle.
I will ask this guy, I will say, do you mean here that you're basically saying that it's not a theodolite in that you can't rotate it in that axis? I guarantee you he'll say yes. And I guarantee you he will say there are 10 milliradians between their stadia and that you can measure 5 milliradians.
Yeah. Guarantee this one here, is that what you were on about? That was the first picture I think I saw of you when you first said it, and I went, I'm going to have to do something about that. You cannot measure an angle with that device.
Yes, you can.
Right, okay.
I just did it. That's what that picture is.
That's a picture of you doing what?
That picture is me measuring an angle below horizontal with an auto level, not a theodolite.
Okay, yes, fair enough. Well, I
So you
guess
say that you understand the relationship between actual
no,
size, angular size, and distance.
I'll say it again, Roohif. I know for a fact that you cannot measure angles with an auto level.
Yeah, and you're wrong.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to engineer supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.
Because that's what the stadium marks are
Well, you
for.
can measure horizontal angles, but like he says, they're not very accurate.
You can measure plus or minus 5 milliradians from horizontal. That's what the stadium marks are. They're 10 milliradians apart. It's an angle. That's how they work. That's how you get the 100-to-1 ratio. In fact, I've got a trigonometry question for you. If
Dude,
you have
I don't
a triangle,
think you're not. Go on then. Let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. This is your challenge.
No,
You have
don't be
a
challenging
triangle.
me like that with them stupid.
Well,
thing
I don't think you can do trigonometry, Bev.
No, I don't think you can do definitions, Roohif.
I don't think you can do it.
challenge you to
So
define.
here's my
fucking
challenge
words,
anyway.
do I?
You have a triangle. One of the adjacent side is 100 meters, and the opposite side is 1 meter. What is the angle? What are the angles of the triangle? If you've got the adjacent side as 100 and the opposite side as 1, what is the angle? That's your challenge.
Okay, so what is this for?
This is your challenge. This is, can you do trigonometry?
Yeah, but I know, say like that's it, right? Can I do trigonometry?
Yeah. What is the angle? I want to hear what the angle is. And then I want you to convert it to milliradians. I guarantee you can't do it, Bev.
you guarantee we can't measure that out of an auto level or what?
No, I'm asking you to do simple trigonometry. What is that angle in milliradians? The adjacent side's 100 and the opposite side is 1.
Okay. You'll leave it with us.
Yeah.
We'll
no worries.
We'll put it out as a challenge.
I'll go and email. I'll go and email this dude at Civil today.
Okay.
What the fuck was that? Was that a sheep?
Possibly.
Fuck. All right. Anyway. All right. I'll be with it. See ya.
See you later.
You got the sheep.
Like water. Now you put water into a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Be water, my friend. Now you put water into a cup. You put water into a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle. It becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot. It becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Water. Like water. Now you put water into a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash.
Can an auto level be used to measure angles?
According to engineer supply, an auto level cannot measure vertical angles and has limited accuracy in measuring horizontal angles.